And we're live from the surface of the sun, and Daniel is in fact here, so I don't have to do the scary thing where I host the thing. Take it away, Daniel.
Why,
Am I
thank
hosting?
you. And welcome once again to the International Writers Fellowship of July in the year of our Lord 2024. As you can see,
I believe it's July.
It is. As you can see, I'm not in my year at the moment, but life being life, I'm also here. So thank you for having me. How's everybody doing?
Good. Glad to be here.
Great. Everything's great.
Yes.
You know what? I am so glad I got lots of feedback.
I gotta fix it.
I'm just glad that we figured it out.
Good.
Or that Amber figured it out.
I personally think that. Oh, should I have hit record? No, I don't. I guess not.
I know. Clooney's here.
I just think Dan didn't trust me to run it on my own.
Yeah, he was standing by.
Or a message. Yeah, that's right. It's completely can't get in. And onto
I was on it. I was working on it. I was helping her.
I had like 7 minutes. Hello, everyone. We're very organized, and everything is just fine.
Yes.
Rock on. Oh, anyway,
it's fine.
I repeat, what's everybody doing this week?
I've had a shit day. I'm so glad to be done with the shit part of my shit day.
Aww.
Excellent.
Okay.
Well, let's hope that this part is less shit.
Yes. I've had a good day.
It generally is the less shit part of my week. So there it is. Good.
And
tell us about your good day.
I've been editing Manny Fuego audio. So that's always fun.
Editing, as in that you manufacture.
Not the whole thing. We just started. But
too excited.
It's in the works.
Yay! And I did not get it published by today, but I am ever so close. I'm getting all the little things figured out, and yeah.
That's great.
Money being a problem, but
money.
We'll get there.
What is this thing called
for
money?
ISBNs? For ISBNs.
They don't just give away free ISBNs.
They don't, and not? You buy one for like $125, or you buy 10 for $295, and it's like, well, you may as well buy 10 because by the time I'm done, I'm going to need at least 3. So
might as well. You don't always need on the deal,
right?
Right.
But it's
Charlene here for joining us. Whose turn is it on card? And you did last week. Oddly enough, I bought a deck with me because I'm that much of a nerd. So I can
Where are you?
Use those. I am in. I am of London. My wife and my son are in Japan. Weeks. And you know what? I am going to a little cottage for £100 a night for a few nights and tell the world to go and eat shit.
But yet here you are.
And
not you know us.
Not you, because you aren't the world. You are loveliness personified.
Nah.
But yeah, I forgot to bring my guitar. That was I promised my guitar teacher I'd bring my guitar. I didn't. I got onto the M4 and realised, oh yeah, I should have brought that. So I have just been sitting, reading, and generally messing. So,
have you been relaxing? Is this what I'm hearing? You, Dan, relax? Is that possible?
Don't say it out loud. Why would you do that?
You relaxing.
Oops. I didn't mean to hide Dan. How did I do that? Okay, I was just trying to move a logo. I just.
And on that note, he's gone. Went back to relaxing.
Yeah. Please never put me in charge of this again.
Okay, lovely. That's fine. Seasons of the Witch Oracle. I think I showed you the winter themed one, and this is the Letha Oracle one. Okay. See, it's not. You're right. Don't listen. Don't worry. So I hate the title of this card. It's not the first time I pulled it. I've only had it a couple of weeks. Card is Cancer, but it a star sign rather. But yeah. So call yourself back from all space, feel, sense, and reflect on the ocean. And that is. Sorry if you can't see on this camera.
Cannot.
But can you see something of it?
Shapes.
Yeah.
It
looks like a half moon.
Yeah, it's a woman's.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
What's on her head?
Is it her hair that's like going up behind her? What is that?
Long stars and yeah. Okay. Anyway, so keyword emotional wellness. It's very pretty. Emotional wellness and boundaries. How are you doing? That is the Cancer sun sign card appears in your reading. When was the last time you took a moment to listen to your internal landscapes and support your emotional needs? Cancer's how to find your own little corner of the where you can retreat to replenish your energy. It reminds you of the power of self-care and that you're holding it up can be potent allies when you take rather than trying to suppress them. Your emotions may offer you a deeper understanding about how and when you need to boundaries. Bring light to feeling overwhelmed. Guide you to the things that bring you happiness or steer you away from what steals your joy. Every emotion has something to teach, and yours have been seeking an audience with you. Ask your emotions plainly, what are you trying to tell me? Then listen carefully because the answer may surprise you. So
it seemed like that card was made for you, Dan.
I was thinking exactly the same thing. Disappearing from the telling the real world to go whistle. That's me. How about I confess I've done not quite zero writing, but not I was going to do. I've been watching this and MASH.
Pride and I would never have figured you for a Jane Austeneer. All right.
The original, though, right?
I am the one, yeah, the proper one, the one where Colin fits.
Oh yes, yeah. The best.
So
it's gone now.
Anyway, so that's me. How are you?
That is
okay.
Good.
It's saying that Amber needs a bit of a retreat from stresses of life and listen to your inner.
I do that all day long. I would like my inner self to shut up every once in a while and just let me. I would like to be out of touch with my emotions for a while, if that is possible. Whenever somebody's like, get in touch with your, like, how are you doing? I'm like, that's all I do is think about how I'm doing. I don't want to think about it anymore. I just want to, like,
but do you listen?
Live.
Yeah, but do you listen? You do you?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, she listens, Jen. She listens. How about you, Jen?
Yeah.
Fran is telling me that I'm doing great, Daniel. So, you and Fran can have a chat. How are you, Fran?
I'm good. I just had 2 weeks with no kids, so that felt like a nice little retreat. Went to the beach. That was nice.
And So, by the way, this is a genuine fireplace behind me. So it's
Is it lit?
Quite
it's
lovely.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So, are we talking about on this fine evening? So, we spoke about getting ourselves organized, as I recall, because Amber had a horrific experience with the thing that people know. Amber
Scrivener.
Yeah.
How do I make the chat messages pop up for
Um,
us? Can I not do that in this one?
Do you not just click them?
Or you just click them?
There you go.
You
That's
just click them. There you
absurd. Just click
Self
it.
care, yes. I think knowing Charlene, you need a bit more self care as well.
Dance is calling everybody out today.
He is. He's
Well,
calling
see,
them
no-
out from his quaint little cottage.
The great thing is, now that I'm doing this, I no longer being a hypocrite. So look after yourself. You've got to make sure you don't overwork, and you've got to take time for self care, self reflection. It's as opposed to me saying that and going, "Oh my god, I can't take this anymore. Somebody shoot me, please."
That's good.
Yes, but how long has it been?
How-
Sorry.
How long has it been? I came
Since the last time you looked after yourself this way.
before Christmas.
Okay.
Only working 6 days a week.
No, that doesn't count.
That doesn't
6
count.
days a
Me on Sundays where I'm not playing RPGs with people. Shush! Now, come on.
How does it feel, Dan?
Oddly
All right, I'll shush.
I,
normal.
speaking of self-care, need my cushions. I'm uncushioned.
Ugh.
I was like, my chair's too low.
Get your cushions.
Why am I so low down? Because I don't have my cushions. For my
There
dumb
you go.
hips. Oh,
No.
so much better.
Yeah. So how are we proceeding evening or afternoon or wherever we are? Like I say, I've been watching the last few days say things like capital. I really must insist that you look very ill.
Well, we'll love
Something for it.
it. Now you make me want to go watch.
Well, I haven't watched it in ages. That was just how
Yeah.
very 90s British television it is.
Oof.
Yes, it is.
It's just there was a time when that image of Colin Firth in a was the sexiest thing in Britain. Or I mean, now obviously, God, he's wearing that sex, but back then it was like,
It's Colin Firth too. Like, I just don't think he's that attractive. Like, not a Firth girly.
out of
Well,
Okay.
back in the
two, I
day.
even
I'll
want.
see myself out. I just. Oh.
Well, okay then. Being as we sing topics, how about we talk about romance writing and romance in our stories
Oh man.
and the relationships and such?
Mhm.
Because Jen, I know
Okay.
you like a bit of love in your stories. Amber, you've written relationship in yours, I know, and the Penelope Files are surely going to have some romance in it. Obviously, that's the only reason.
Yeah. It's hard for me to. I have to start writing that, and I will talk about it more. But yes, and there's a lot of romance in my fantasy novel. It's very romantic-y oriented. So,
And obviously, because
like to the point where I think I forget about the plot.
Yeah.
I gotta stop talking about who's gonna kiss who, and then get back to the whole like world-ending thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Your characters keep getting you off track.
You keep each other off track.
Yeah, that too.
Well, because obviously we've spoken a couple of times about the things amongst a couple amongst us here of have storyline just as needs, shall we say? But in terms of sorry, I'm being as I'm on my laptop and got all of these. It's not set up.
That was WhatsApp. Someone's WhatsApping you.
That was indeed. And I'm like, why? I've been using laptop for, and I'm still finding shit. What even is that? I mean,
Oh, no.
I'm glad it's what even is
Anyway.
that and not,
It could be worse, I guess.
Abstract 4. Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah, but he's got nothing worse on there than I have on mine. Frankly, I mean, it would take a lot to shock me on that front. He's shown me some of the videos he watches. He showed a couple of days a short while ago. He showed me a car just absolutely pancaked. Why are you watching this? It exists. Why is this? Why would you think I want to see it?
God, I thought you were telling us that he was showing you his pornography, and I was like, it's cool that you are sex positive with your son, but at least he's just watching cars getting smashed.
Oh no, this was more than smashed. No, this was more than smashed. This a car by the end of it. It was.
I was being delicate.
Yes. So romance. Let's talk to characters and relationships and how we feel. Well, real but also enjoyable on the page. What is it about developing that side of characters? Because characters come in and we relate to them in different ways. But of genre, there's just romantic undertones. What are people's favorite in terms of this writing?
Approaches.
Go on, Jen. You go.
Yeah.
I guess I like it as kind of a subplot. So usually there's something else going on, but then I always try to bring in the romance side just because I like it. But I don't want to focus the whole story on it. So there's got to be something else going on.
But what is it that you like?
I don't know. I guess it feels more personal. So you're getting to know the characters more and seeing them trying to be in a relationship with someone. So it just, I don't know, you feel more connected, I guess, to the character.
How about yourself, Ember?
I feel that when you're writing a character and they're either organically or by design developing feelings for another character, you can start to get that butterflies feeling when they're in the same scene together, and then you're like, well, what are they gonna say to each other? Are they gonna kiss or
Yeah.
I mean, I plan my stories usually ahead of time as far as just the general arcs, but the relationships always seem organically. Two planned relationships, and then all the other ones just kind of popped up because I was like, oh, those two characters seem to really like each other. I think says make a well-rounded character. It's part of most of us, unless you identify otherwise. Yeah, but for most folks, yeah, romance is kind of a part of life. And a fun part.
Yeah.
And what about you, Dan?
Disclosure time. I am a hopeless romantic. Like I say, I'm a bloke in the middle of nowhere. Seriously, that yards down the road, there is no internet signal. I'm living off the owner of this place's Wi-Fi. I mean, Jane Austen. It's typical toxic masculinity right there.
No.
It's the tenderness, just the feeling. The character, the protagonist, the main character, when they have somebody they can turn to, and you can. I mean, I've written Kind of Freedom Slaves. The characters, I mean, there's quite a few, especially between two characters I just adore. Important part of their relationship, they will stand by each other, and do very lonely individuals, and suddenly when they have each other, the rest of the world is a little scary, if that makes sense. And my history being my history, that, so watching Darcy and Elizabeth just glance fleetingly across the room at each other, it's like, oh, they're gonna be there for each other. And I think Colin Firth is odd. So
you can think that.
Oh, I do.
I think he's kind of too.
Not gay or anything, but I totally suck that guy's dick.
Well, sexuality is a spectrum. You could be just a teensy bit gay. Just gay enough to fillet Colin Firth. That's it. 0.5% gay.
0.5% gay. Yeah, we'll take that.
I would gladly.
What's the guy?
It's not.
His name? What's the guy's name in Bridgerton and who was in Dungeons and Dragons? Jean Roger Pay, something like that. I mean, he is beautiful. The guy who played the paladin, the man
Bridgerton?
He was the Duke in the first series, I think.
The
main love interest.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he could get it.
Yes, exactly. I mean, he isn't handsome. He could eat me out on the like.
He's devastating. Yeah. So welcome to the Bisexual Club, Dan. We're glad to have you.
Thank you. Do loan in that series because every man in is now going to feel self-conscious about their looks because so. But Colin Firth is hot, and when he and Elizabeth tenderly, it's like, oh, they're not going to be alone for much longer. It's interesting that I could psychoanalyze myself and say why and how, but a lot of my characters are quite lonely souls, and so when they find somebody, it's the feels.
It's sweet too.
That is sweet. Yeah. I find so with me and relationships and stories, there's that aspect which is nice. Like there's a big battle and maybe the lovers are separated and one of them rushing to the other one to make sure they're okay as the battle's over or something like that. Like it kind of gives me something to anchor my action against, whenever there's an event or something like that. But then there's also like my story is sort of built on relationships. So friendships and romances are what drive a lot of the protagonist and antagonist activity, which you just have to see when I finish it someday. I have been writing it, so I could be done with it by the end of summer.
Oh, good.
Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I find romance to just be like the spice that makes the story yummy. Though I feel like I'm going to have to recategorize my book as romantasy because the romance is such a huge piece of it. Like it's not a
Well,
fantasy
that was
book with
what I
romance
was.
in it. Sorry?
How do you draw the line? Where, because you mentioned that you're not having much time for the plot because you're spending so much time with the romance. I mean, obviously, the romance is the plot, and where do you draw that line? Where between the two?
I don't know, because it's an adventure story. Like we're going hither and yon. We're going all the way across the world and back. So
Mm.
I can't say it's not a fantasy adventure story because the adventure is there and it's very important. It's just, you know, the romance is always cropping up wherever we go, which I guess is a good thing. Consistency is key. So I couldn't say when you say like it's no longer an action or an adventure story, it's now a romance story because I feel like that would not be doing service to the rest of the plot that I've written.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hopefully, if I get traditionally published, they decide.
Yeah.
And they're like, it's this. And I'm like, that's fine. Money, please. So, yeah.
Yeah.
You don't get money for your book.
I mean, I'll get like 50 cents at least.
At least.
At
Okay, no.
least.
Yeah. That's like, Jen, obviously, you've transitioned from your writing to your sorry, it's repeating on me, to your sleep stories.
Yeah.
How's the romance? Does it feature something that you put in?
Yeah, one of my sleep stories does. It's it's kind of like a forbidden romance between like an immortal creature and a mortal man. And so with a sleep story, you obviously don't have too much of a climax. It's all just nicey until you go to sleep.
Can't get people too revved up.
Yeah. Which is kind of fun to
No.
write because then you don't have to worry about hitting those big, plot points and having things come, to a head and everything. It's just, oh, well, they just, had a romance and they did this and that and it ends happily. So it's kind of fun to write because it can all be happy. You can throw in a little bit of conflict, but you don't want too much in there.
No.
Yeah.
That sounds so nice.
Yeah.
Sounds relaxing.
Yeah.
And he kissed her forehead and they went to sleep.
Yes.
The end. Like,
Yeah.
saw.
Exactly.
Uh,
So it's a nice way, I guess, to write a romance because you don't have to worry about all the other crap.
I love writing fights between lovers. It's like catnip for me.
Why?
There you go.
Well, yeah.
I don't know. I guess because I'm a dialogue writer, and so anytime there's, and in my fantasy story, there's so much going on that there's an abundance of things for people to disagree about and get fussy about, and they're a bunch of young adults, so they're all over each other, and it's just a big hot mess. So yeah, and I think it gives me a unique opportunity to reveal more about backstories because when people get into fights, they tend to dredge things up. So it's like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
To bring it all together in the conflict.
Exactly.
And obviously, in the following on from the sleep, romance is a big part of a lot of fairy tales, which many of us either got read, bedtime kind of thing. Kids, that's what we did before the internet. We read books.
Yeah.
Don't be like that.
And they
The
all
kids
live
still read books.
though.
Yes.
Which ones? Mine doesn't. These are the number of books I have and goes, I'm not reading. You like reading? So obviously Disney took took up a lot of the IPs and romanced the hell out of them.
Yeah,
Beauty and the
right.
Beast.
Cinderella, Rapunzel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Tangled.
Tangled. Yeah.
Did they do
Oh, yeah.
Rapunzel?
I don't know. Yeah, Tangled would be the modern one. Yeah.
Was that the one where she gets the frying pan?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
She
Yeah.
takes up with a handsome rogue.
Mm-hmm.
Love a handsome rogue.
Obviously, those stories are simplified, and there's been some controversy in inverted commas about some of those things. So that girl who's playing Snow White film, she's made some comments about the original, the animated version was a stalker. I think I haven't actually seen the animated, but the stories, what's it called? The older films would not be made in. And is it a shame that we've missed the simplicity?
I think so. I think these are well-loved stories. They're classics for a reason. But, I guess in our new society, they're not, I don't know, they're not being made. But I think that deep down, a lot of people do like that kind of a fairy tale thing, no matter how unrealistic it might be. I guess that's why it's called a fairy tale, right? We want to be taken out of our reality and put into, the happy ending land.
A little.
At least I do. I'm speaking for myself. So, yeah. What do you think, Ember? You look deep.
Thinking face on.
Do I? I have a thinking face. I didn't really watch the Disney Snow White because I found it to be appallingly boring.
Literally never seen it, so couldn't tell you.
Appallingly boring. I don't know. I don't think it's a shame that we are analyzing things and discussing things that we find troubling or problematic, like the fact that, Belle falls in love with somebody who is literally holding her captive. Like, of course, there's an element there of romance and fun, and that's something that people write nowadays in like monster romances or fae romances. Like, oh, but I think it's okay for us to say, like, realistically, this is really scary, but this is a fantasy story. I don't know. I kind of get all up on my soapbox about things, and I don't want to get on my soapbox today.
That's fair enough. But that's actually kind of why I raise the issues. Like, if anybody has a soapbox that they'd like to stand on, please do so. I'm getting too old to sit on the floor.
No, I mean, Grimm's fairy tales are what they are. Old stories are what they are. Killing yourself because, the prince marries someone else is fine, I guess. But I think here's the thing. I think that there are plenty of people who are going to still be writing that kind of stuff. Like, yeah. So to me, it's like we just have more opportunity to find things that speak more to our worldview, if that's not it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's it.
I had a thought. Please, somebody tell me what I was thinking.
You don't have thoughts.
I don't have thoughts.
No, I don't have thoughts. Head empty.
It'll come back. Gas. It was a good one as well. I was like, oh yes, got to mention that. It'll be good.
Grimm's fairy tales, classic stories.
I'm a huge fan of the idea of the collective unconscious. How there is just kind of a cultural understanding of various, storylines and ideas, and just tap into that. And obviously romance is a huge part of a lot of these fairy life. Write it so that it feels authentic to our readers. We've moved past
romance?
Yeah.
Okay.
We've moved past the love at first sight as a trope, by and large. Or have we? But, how do we...
I fell in love at first sight once. Seriously.
How did that work out for you?
That relationship is in my book.
Okay, well.
I won't tell you which one it is, but it's...
So not well, then.
Did I say that?
Do not do... It was a complete
Have
joke.
a rock?
I will throw it at you and it come out of your screen and hit you. Fair enough, okay.
What were we talking
about?
With
the caveat then that can happen. Nevertheless, how do we write our romance authentic to our readers? What is it? What
characters
feels
have to have chemistry.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure.
And sorry for talking over you, Dan. There's just the slightest bit of a lag, so I thought you were done. But yeah, the characters have to feel correct together. When I'm like, for example, even though I don't recommend reading Harry Potter anymore, when Harry Potter got together with Ginny Weasley, I was like, I don't see this. This doesn't work for me. And so it kind of ruined the end of the stories more for me than they were already. And I didn't really understand Ron and Hermione. Like, neither of those things really made sense to me as a reader. It felt like they were convenient pairings for the author, but so
yeah,
that's my thing. It's make or break. If the characters aren't really magnetic together, like love it or leave it, there's Bella and Edward, they had chemistry, then
yeah.
Did they?
I thought they did. I read Twilight. I'm not ashamed.
What about Jacob and Bella?
Also chemistry, but I could tell that she didn't feel as intensely throughout the book. Like, I was like, this is never... The people who were Team Jacob, I was like, I don't know what books you've been reading, but that's not gonna happen.
No.
So there's that.
Yeah.
But how do you create that chemistry, though? What? Because these characters are just words on a piece of paper. What creates chemistry between those words?
It's hard sometimes. I have two characters that I really had to work on because of their romance with Flat. But I think Jen.
Oops.
Did I
Sorry.
You cut out a little bit.
Am I here now?
How about you? Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess it has to be like, there's several things in play, right? So it has to kind of be the right moment, the right setting, the right time, and then them being themselves, but kind of playing off of each other where you can pick up on that chemistry. So there is
off each other. Yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah. So there's a lot going on that you kind of have to orchestrate to make it feel like they naturally have chemistry when you're kind of pulling the strings and But I think, that's easy to, if you're a good writer and you put time into it, you can do it. It can pay off. You might have to play around with it a bit, but
the professional hazard of falling in love with your own characters. Because I know
Lord.
a couple of my characters I adore. And, I write short stories about them 20 years after I finished writing the story just because I love spending time with them.
Oh.
And they're cute together.
Yeah. I guess if you're not planning to kill one of them off, then it's fine to fall in love with them.
I think it's natural. I mean, if you don't love your characters, how are other people going to love them?
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you fall deep in crush for your character, I mean, that's a whole different thing. You have to pull yourself out and face reality. But I mean, especially as a woman writing romance, I'm writing men with sort of a more female gaze, and with an aim to be kind of more pleasing to my audience, which I imagine is going to be more heavily female. So yeah, writing appealing male characters. But then I also have like gay romance in my story as well, which actually has been challenging for me because like not a gay man. And there's
How are
just
you?
different dynamics. I'm not. I feel like one sometimes, but no.
Oh,
Yeah.
that makes so much more sense now.
Does it?
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I just wasn't clicking. I get it now. I get it. I'm clearly a bit.
I'm just exhausted, so I'm just doing my best to keep up. It's been a lot. Yeah. But yeah, I will say too, like analyzing your characters and knowing what your character is not turned on by, but like what your character needs from a relationship, what they want from a relationship, what they didn't know they wanted from a relationship, what kinds of people they're attracted to. Like you do have to do a lot of that deep work. And like I realized that one of my characters is like their romantic interest's best friend in a lot of ways, but different gender. So it's like, oh, that's why that person fell in love with them. Like this person acts like somebody they already very much love, and they're used to that dynamic, and it just became an easy romantic dynamic. And yeah, the flirting. It's so fun to write the flirting.
Yeah.
And for the other characters to look at them and just go, do they realize what they're doing? It's really obvious.
Mm-hmm.
And there's fun things like secret romances, forbidden romances, unrequited romances.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that can never like find the timing.
Yeah. Those are fun.
Those are fun.
And what about what are the what about the bad writing romance? What are the cliches or things that you read and go, oh, for God's sake, why? Are there any? Or are you just, and it doesn't really matter who, as you're enjoying the ride?
I guess you could have it be too over the top and too mushy, and it's like, okay, can we move on to another scene or something?
Jesus, guys, get a room, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I haven't found anything too yuck in my own sojourns. The prose can become a little bit difficult at times, harkening back to Twilight, like the way people are described, sometimes the way they smell, the golden liquid amber of their eyes, like
Yeah.
my God. But yeah, for the most part now, I'm just, if there's romance in the story that I'm reading, and I'm like, okay, let's see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Because I
What
mean,
about you, Dan?
the reason I mentioned the actually because I cannot for the life of me remember. Basically, the main character, the female lead, the main character, a dungeon, and there was a male prisoner in there, and while they fell in love, forever. Do you not have anything better other than each other's smoldering looks? It just felt A, forced, B, unnatural, but C, just I cannot for the life of me remember what the book was, but it was just no.
Didn't work.
Did they like declare their undying love for each other while they were still in prison?
Eventually,
Now, that's dumb.
it was yeah, it's just it was yeah. But so I'm a huge fan of Burton, and he had criticize him on his quote unquote romance stories. Sharp novels, especially the main character Sharp, who's in every single book, obviously, because he falls in love with a new woman or has a relationship in every single book, and it is just a case of she appears, they get together, basically like a James Bond girl, it's just like,
Gross.
yeah, it is. And there was a point to me saying that.
You don't like that?
I don't like that. No.
Was that the point?
Almost certain points. I'm like,
You had a beer, a whole beer?
a whole beer.
It.
I know.
A whole beer.
But in the Arthur books, he focused a little bit more on romance.
He did.
As far as not going from, port.
Cynwyn, yes, but I don't know. If that was all I'd read, I agree with you, but having read Sharp and just I can see.
I haven't read Sharp.
Yeah, it's just the same pattern of writing. Beautiful girl comes along, main character wants her, loves her, get together. They got together and they stayed together.
Yeah.
Which, obviously leads us happily into, happily ever after. Because the big difference between Derval and Sharp was that Derval, Cynwyn was, it was a happily ever after.
Yeah.
And we know that if a after, it's not considered a romance, which I think is a bit silly, but.
Oh dear. Oh, okay.
Where do we stand on happy ever afters?
I like them.
I like them too, but I also don't want them to be predictable, but I don't know if that's really like reasonable, if that makes sense. Like, I don't want it to be too easy for these people to just, if it's a romance story, if it's something else and the romance is just an element, then maybe not, but I don't know.
I mean, the reason I say I think it's a bit silly to say that it can't be a romance book if it doesn't have happily ever after is because it isn't necessarily about the destination, it's about the journey, and you powerfully romantic experience that doesn't lead to
True.
I was going to say the same thing. Like, as a younger person, I wanted that all the time, but now that I'm married and like have been for a long time and can like look back at my life and my relationships more objectively, I'm like, well, plenty of these were fine for a good long time before they weren't. And I regret that I went into every relationship thinking, and then we're going to get married if things work out. Because it's like, so I think that being the norm for romance books kind of sets people up, or at least young people up, to believe that the only successful relationship is the one that ends with somebody dying, meaning like till death do us part, which you can certainly have plenty of wonderful romantic experiences without having to go the distance or be long term or anything like that. So that said, one girl per book formulaically is just gross. It's gross.
I as Jen knows, I don't have many criticisms of Cornwall because I love him and I think he's very, very good at what he does, but he himself describes his books as formulaic, and in certain
Wow,
elements,
okay.
it's difficult to be.
Yeah.
It is very much a case of sagging, just wheel on 100 Frenchmen and shoot them. And sorry, the Sharp books are set during the Napoleonic Wars.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. I was like, I don't have any point of reference for this. I don't get it.
Sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine. But yeah, so it's like, I guess that's why we have so many will they, won't they romance stories, because then there is or like love triangle romance stories, because then it's like, who is she gonna pick? Who is he gonna pick? Who are they gonna pick? Which is just like, meh. But I also don't hate love triangles. I feel like there's been a huge backlash lately against love triangles, and I'm like, why though? They're fun.
What's the backlash? I haven't actually heard about that one.
Oh, people just are bored of them.
Yeah.
You know, write something else, do something else. I think that probably, again, Twilight like really burned people out on love triangles.
Yeah.
And there's been various other young adult stories, either romantic or otherwise, that have involved pretty impassioned love triangles. Who will she choose? You know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Give the people what they want. They want a love triangle? It's fine. Write what you like. I guess that's going to be my thesis statement for Romance Day. Write what you like. You enjoy that. If you want Colin Firth in a wet shirt and a love triangle, you do that. Bad self.
Yes. Sorry.
Oh,
what?
and Love at First Sight. Your pride pin will be in the mail soon.
Pride and Prejudice.
Both things. Pride and Prejudice. Yeah.
Did you know? No, that's.
And do we have any particular favorite romance stories, writers, etc.?
Okay, you can't make fun of me, but my favorite romantic movie is Moulin Rouge.
It's a beautiful film.
Ewan McGregor is a beautiful man.
There is something about you, but no, I will agree with you. Good looking, lovely film. I don't understand why she lives in an elephant, though. That confuses me.
She lives in an elephant, and it's lovely, and it's exotic.
Yes, dear. How about you, Jen?
Titanic.
Ooh.
We like tragic love stories.
Yes, it is tragic, but I don't know. I love that movie.
Dan loves Pride and Prejudice. I don't read very many romance books.
Well, actually,
sorry, go ahead,
I love those. There was a spate of movies and books 20 years ago of people moving abroad and love. A Good Year is one with Russell, but also things like Before Sunrise and Before Sunset. You know, people just meet, and you know that instant connection.
Yeah.
Sunset is just I adore that film. It's just two people, and trying desperately to deny the fact that they are hot for each other.
Put it delicately.
Oh, that said though, another Jane Austen. There is a fantastic YouTube Snit Diaries, which
Oh,
it's amazing. Basically, so it's Pride and Prejudice is, I think, and she's doing a media studies course or something like that, and the book is to produce a video diary, and it's story of Pride and Prejudice just in blog form.
That's a cute idea.
It's
Sounds
really
cool.
it's I think it's still available. I mean, I watched it entirely free, still out there.
Well, okay then.
Check it out.
Oh, excuse me, sorry.
Well, we're reaching the top of the hour. Everybody here is tired.
Very tired.
My usual. We call it a day.
Yep. And the
There.
chat went quiet too.
It
So-
did.
Yeah,
So, thank you.
I
Thank you.
believe they were terrified of me for hosting the stream today.
No.
Like, Ember's hosting. God, no.
No, what? Don't give us that. Stop it. Stop it.
Self-deprecating comments are what I do. All right.
Yes, there's a difference between self-criticism.
That was deprecation. Everybody, I'm too tired to argue. Wind it up, Maestro.
Where can we find
I
you?
did. I am on YouTube, Insight Timer, Patreon, and Spotify for sleep stories,
Oh,
and TikTok.
and-
At Jane's Dreamy Bookshelf. Sorry,
there it is.
there it is.
We'll get you to say one day. Don't worry.
Oh no, I forgot last time. Oh,
And the
That's
time
right there.
before that, as a matter of fact.
Tired.
But how about yourself?
what can I say?
What do you?
Just find me at Robots and Magic wherever you get your internet. You'll find other things from there. So that's good. And Dan?
And you can find me Ultimate Counselling with 2ls.co.uk. If you is in need of some counselling or psychotherapy, I specialize in therapy. You can buy my book, Role Playing Games and Psychotherapy Practitioner's Guides, at Amazon Noble and wherever you get your reading material. Yeah, it's on YouTube at the RPG Therapist. I've just put up a video of me and some friends, including Charlene from the chat, our Legends role-playing game, and it is driving me up the wall. These people are supposed to be spies, and yet their immediate act was to walk up to the organization they're supposed to be infiltrating, who they are and what they're after. What am I supposed to do
This
with
is
that?
the risk. The risk
So,
of tabletop gaming.
Yeah.
Yes.
Your party's
Yes.
going to do weird stuff sometimes, and you're going to have to just go along with it. So,
Mhm.
yep.
Mhm.
It's yes and your way through.
And on that note, thank you everybody for joining us today and watching us on replay, and us next week for another chat. See you then.